guys, it's Sam, and today I'm going to be talking about my favorite video game characters. So as you guys know, on my other channel I talk a lot about my favorite book characters and stuff like that, and I have mentioned video games before, but this is just laying out all of my favorite video game characters. And you're gonna know most of them, and a lot of them all come from the same franchises because I'm loyal to franchise, number one. Number two, I was trying to be like, okay, pick your favorites, and like, I can say who my favorite characters are, but that doesn't mean the other ones aren't my favorites too. I'm talking about BioWare games, obviously. So we have a lot to talk about, so let's just get into it. If you like seeing me fangirl about video games, this is gonna be the video for you. I should be wearing my N7 Christmas sweater. It's really a crime. I'm thinking about going and putting it on right now. I'm going to. Look at this. This is one of the best, if not the best, apparel purchase I have ever made in my life. So you guys know what's coming with this whole costume change. We're gonna talk Mass Effect first, and the first character that I need to mention because she is my love, my light, and that is Shepard. So in Mass Effect, if you don't play it, you can play a male or female character, male or female Shepard. Shepard's kind of like a predetermined character. You can determine how they look, how she looks. I'm just gonna say she because to me, Shepard is a female and she will always be a female. You can determine how she looks and you can kind of pick a backstory, but generally speaking, she's like a character that has a defined personality for the most part, everything else, blah, blah, blah. Shepard makes me cry, like, to this day because I love her so much. Like, I know that's kind of maybe unhealthy. I love her. I have never, ever connected to a video game character protagonist as much as I have to Shepard. Like, I've never wanted to be a part of the military, ever. But if I, like, could be a space military N7 person, I'd be like, alright, here we go. I guess we're going to space. Her personality is so strong, and her beliefs are so strong, and you can craft her. You can kind of choose in Mass Effect if you want to be a Paragon, which is kind of like the hero, lawful good, or if you're maybe a Renegade, which I would say is, it kind of depends how you play it. It could be, like, chaotic neutral. It could be lawful evil. Like, it depends on how far you go with it. But you can kind of pick their personality and how they respond to things and stuff like that. So I love her, and I pick like the same things every time I play. She looks a certain way. She looks pretty close to how like the stock Shepard looks, in my opinion. I adore her. I miss her and all the characters in the Mass Effect games that I'm going to now continue to talk about after I'm done playing. I've started replaying the games so many times just to like see them again. I don't reread books the way that I replay BioWare games. I don't. But I do with these video games. Shepard is my joy. She speaks to me. I have a whole playlist that I listen to when I think about her. It's bad. Speaking of, the other part of that whole component is Garrus Vakarian. So Garrus Vakarian is basically like a space bird dinosaur, and you'd think that that wouldn't be attractive. And if you just see the picture, you're like, that's weird. But I'm in love with him. So his voice, number one, is like the best. He's one of the best voice acted. Like all the voice acting in this game is like awesome. But I love him. He's like, he has this morally gray tinge to him, but he starts out as seeing things as very black and white. He always says like he doesn't really work well within the gray area, and he sees things as very black and white, and he grows a lot throughout the series. He's actually fairly young in the Alien years. When like the series starts, he's probably in like his mid-20s or something. And he really grows a lot, and these are all like mature characters, you know, that are adults or whatever, and he's so great. He is a dumb nerd. He is a badass like space sniper, you know, like so cool. And if you do a relationship with him and Shepard, he turns into a complete nerd, like doesn't know what to do, is completely baffled by her, and I love those kinds of relationships, and they are like, regardless of how if you romance them or not, they are best friends, and they love each other regardless, and that just speaks to me on like a deep level, and they become best friends through these like experiences and stuff, and they're great, and I love them. Another character I love is Thane Krios, who is one of my other relationship options for the game. He's actually the first romance I ever did for Shepard, and he is like an assassin frog. This is the way that I'm describing them. I'm also in love with him as well. He is an assassin, but he's very like, again, like almost borderline, what would he be? Neutral good, I guess. Like he definitely has a code. He has a system of how he does things. He's very sweet. He has very visceral memories. His alien species can like basically relive and flashback their memories, and it's like very deep, and they're just very calm and soothing. Like he's almost like an assassin monk in a way. Like He's very tragic and very angsty, and I just adore him so much. We have to talk about the other characters in the Normandy, but I almost can't because I don't have enough time for all of them. But my other love interest that I play is Liara, who is a blue, wonderful beauty, and she is very smart. She also starts out very nerdy, and she grows into a really good character because she starts out being just like nerdy, not really knowing what to do, and kind of naive, and by like the third game is like a complete badass and is just so great, and I love her so much. She's so smart and so pretty, and I just, oh, it hurts me. And Joker, who's the pilot of the Normandy, is so great. He's voiced by Seth Green, and perfect casting. He's so snarky, and like the shit's hitting the fan and he's popping out one-liners. It's amazing. Jack, who I wish you could romance as a lady, but you can't. She is canon bisexual, but for some reason you cannot romance her as a woman. It is still an injustice. What a babe. And she, again, all the characters grow a ton throughout this series, but she is originally this very like closed off character, and she really grows and like opens up a bit and is just like a badass. Like, look at her. Look at her. I love her. She is goals, obviously. And Tally, who my dog is named after, is one of my most precious beings. She is so sweet and so great, and her story again is so good because she's like kind of young when she starts it, and then like has the whole series, and just like all these characters are my best friends. I love them. Everything's great about these games. Everything's great about these games. Now we can get into the other BioWare franchise, Dragon Age. So I can't mention my Inquisitor because in Dragon Age your like characters that you build are different. Well, besides Hawke, who I can mention in a second, because she's in Dragon Age 2. Again, you can make a male or female Hawke, but I obviously chose female, and Marion Hawke is canon, in my opinion. But I would probably choose my Inquisitor to be above Hawke. Maybe, depends. I really like having Hawke as like a formed personality, but you can't choose Inquisitors because everyone's Inquisitor is like completely different, so that's not fair. So let's talk about Hawke. Hawke is snarky. The one thing that Dragon Age 2 got done really well was Hawke's sarcasticness. You can choose to make her kind of a douche or sarcastic or like really nice, and I mostly chose sarcastic the entire time, and she's amazing. I didn't like a lot of things about Dragon Age 2, but I liked Hawke. And I liked Fenris, who is my grumpy elf husband, and he is great. He's sort of, I would compare him to some of the other BioWare characters, but I guess I really can't. But I need him to be in the 4th game, like real bad, like real bad. I think he will be because he was mentioned about being into Vinta, but like, yeah. So he's grumpy, he's a former slave, he is vengeance incarnate, and I love him. The most angstiest romance ever is him. Like, it's so blessed. Speaking of characters that you can romance in Dragon Age 3 and Cullen Rutherford, my other husband. I've talked to people about this before, and Cullen is basically the Dragon Age version of Garrus in a lot of ways. Like this sort of like, doesn't really see the gray area, but grows too, and like has seen a lot and been through a lot, and like is kind of traumatized about a lot of things, and like very loyal and like the military-ish sort of dude, which is not my type in real life, but so is in these. But like, he's again a giant nerd. Like he's very set in his like career path and that personality, but then when he tries to get with the like Inquisitor or whatever, like doesn't know what to do with himself. Stammers, blushes, is like a complete wreck, and I love him. I love him. He just, oh, he gives me the pitter-pattering of the heart. I have done a romance with Solas, with my elf Inquisitor, and I do like him, but I don't like him as much at all as I love Cullen. And I don't really like Solas until you get to Trespasser. I was actually thinking about Trespasser today because the Trespasser theme came on, and I was like, fuck you, Solas. But I was thinking about him, and I was like, you know what? He's so good in Trespasser that I'm like, hey, Solas. Like, for like the next game, because him in that armor, like look at him being a hobo right here, Solas, and then look at him in this armor. Oh my god. So he speaks to me way more then, but I don't love Solas as much as I love Cullen, who is my wonderful fantasy husband. Just look at him. Oh my gosh, there's some mods of him that actually make me want to cry because he looks so good. Another tragic character, much like Jack, where you can't romance her, is Morrigan. First off, babe. Second off, the best attitude in like the entire franchise, and biggest badass, and like obvious goals. Like, do I want to date her or do I want to be her? Yes, is the correct answer. She's amazing, and she's very complex and like all over the place, and just has very different motives and can be really selfish, and I adore her. And as far as the other characters in Dragon Age, Inquisition specifically, although I do like thinking back, like more things about Dragon Age 2, but Dragon Age 2 I kind of suffered through, to be honest. Like, I have replayed Inquisition since, so I love Iron Bull, who's one of my favorites, and you would have, like, I would have never expected that to be a thing. Cassandra and Liliana, again, phase, like, Liliana, I want her to be on my squad. I know she is in Origins, but, like, I want her to actually be coming with me, like, all the time, and she isn't, and it makes me really sad. Dorian, Papas, my wonderful, beautiful son. I love him. I always gave him the best armor. I brought him everywhere. Even when I was romancing Solas, and I was like, okay, he should be my mage, and I should bring him with all the time. I'm like, nah. I'm bringing 2 mages, and I'm a mage, so we're completely stacked in the wrong direction, but it's fine, because Dorian has to come with me. Like, I love him. I cry over him. He's so beautiful and so great, and, like, his personality is the best, and he has to be in the next one, because obviously it takes place in Tevinter. He has to be. I wanted to be, like, an advisor at the very least on my squad if possible, because we had Varric on the squad in 2 games, and I love Varric, and he's great. I always laugh because now when I think of him, I think of Décolleté, because Geralt always joked that his name was Décolleté because of his, like, open chest thing that he has going on. But yeah, I love my light. Who am I forgetting? Those are my favorites, I would say. Am I forgetting anybody? I don't think so. Those are my faves of all of them. Those people. My loves. Okay, we're getting out of BioWare territory and going into one of my other favorite franchises, which is Assassin's Creed. My all-time favorite character of all of the Assassin's Creed games is Ezio Auditore. I like a lot of the other ones. I like Edward Kenway as, like, a separate character outside of, like, I like him as a pirate. I don't really love him as an assassin. He's the one from Black Flag. But Ezio is one where you have 3 games with him, and he's amazing, and you watch him throughout his entire life, and he is my son. I just love him. I think the 2 trilogy is the best of all of the, like, franchise as a whole, and I adore him. I feel like he got, like, not the best life, and I just love him. And, like, when you play him in the last game as, like, a middle-aged man, and he actually, like, moves slower, and it hurts me. Like, he is starting to be old, and it's just like, like, there's parts where he can't climb up the buildings as fast, and it just actually kills me as he ages, because you're like, I can't even. Like, I love him so much, and he's my favorite of the entire franchise. Speaking of other franchises, let's just get into the Witcher series, and Geralt of Rivia, who is my problematic fave, I almost feel like, but I love him so much. Again, a great voice-acted character. Like, you would think, like, oh, he's supposed to be sort of old, but they're also sort of immortal, and, like, Witchers are just kind of a different breed, but, like, hot, angry, like, dad, sort of. Like, it's just like, what? I'm usually not at all about that look, but man. And I just love him, and he can be sort of dumb sometimes, and you can play him as, like, a womanizer, but, like, thankfully I don't, and it's fine, but I love him so much. I love him so much. And I always play him as romancing Yennefer, and Yennefer is, again, much like Morrigan, they could be, like, sisters, goals, and I also want to date her. She's great. Look at her. Oh my gosh. There's opening scenes with her, like, doing badass magic, and every time I'm just like, the breath leaves my body. I'm just like, I can't. I have ascended to another plane to look at how beautiful you are and how amazing and how you're perfect in every way. And, like, so super powerful and great. No one compares to you, my queen. And I also love Ciri a lot. But I'm thinking that the games are going to now follow her. I mean, they could follow Geralt again, but from the ending of 3, I don't think that they're going to. So I need to see more of her, and her, like, be, like, the new protagonist of the games. Like, I really think that's going to happen, but we're not going to get a new game for 10 years, so it's fine. And last, we'll talk about some other characters from other franchises that I love, and that is the Final Fantasy franchise. I'm actually playing Final Fantasy, 15 right now. Not loving any of those characters right now. I'm kind of just like, I'm feeling very, about that game in general, so I'm going to talk about that when I fully finish that game, but it's a game that I'm really easily able to dip in and out of, because I'm not fully invested in it. Like, it's fun when I'm playing it, but I don't need to keep playing it all the time, so I'm not loving, like, any of the characters in there. So the character that I love the most from, like, the recent games in the franchise is Fang from Final Fantasy 13. Have you noticing a theme with some of these female characters that I'm in love with? Yes. She looks basically like Morrigan. Like, they're the same. I've wanted to cosplay her for years. I adore her. And just everything about her, and, like, her fighting style and her personality and, like, everything is blessed. with her. I also really love, I didn't write his name down, but from Final Fantasy 12, I think it starts with a B. I want to say it's Bartholomew or like Bartimus or something like that. He's British and he has guns. It's been like years since I played the 12. He's one of my other favorite characters. And then obviously like Cloud. Cloud from 7, but also Zack, if you ever played Crisis Core on the PSP or PS Vista or Vita or whatever. Well, I forget which one it was for. A while ago. It came out a while ago. But I love both of them. I almost feel as though I love the Buster Sword because they both have the same giant sword. I almost feel like I love that, and that's like their soul. And so I love both of them because of that stupid sword. Like I see that sword and I'm like crying. So yeah, those are the game characters that I love and adore. I, again, am very loyal to franchises, and there's certain like just companies that I really enjoy and I love the characters that they make. So if you see from this characters that you think I would also like of games that I should play, then let me know. I've recently played Horizon Zero Dawn. Don't really love any of the characters in there. I don't. The only character that I do like, this is like a side note because this isn't like, I wouldn't call them a favorite character because I don't even know his name, but there's a character that you fight bandits with multiple times and he has the little like eye tattoos and he just loves killing bandits and I love him. But I forget what his name is. But all the other characters from there, I could take or leave. So, and I also love the newer Lara Croft games and like younger Lara Croft. But if you have any characters that you think I'd love and games you think I would love, let me know because I would love to play those games. Just comment down below and let me know some of your favorite video game characters. Thank you all for watching and I'll see all of you guys soon. Bye.